countdown.
Make sure that is muted.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Chat with David and Kylie Knight.
Hi there. I'm so glad you are joining us. We are glad you are here. Today is Friday, December 18th, 2020.
Wow.
And guess what?
What?
It's only 1 week to Christmas.
Somebody's excited.
I have been counting down. You know I have. But you know what else?
What's that?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. We're going to get to that.
Oh.
Yeah, let's get out past all of our opening stuff here.
Oh.
I know.
I'm just counting down every day.
She's
right
so
now.
excited. So excited. Life is awesome. So
Yes.
Be sure to do like Josh Kohler does and use the hashtags. Hello Nights. Hashtag
be like
awesome.
Josh.
Be like Josh. That's right. That should be a new hashtag. Be like Josh.
I think it would be for us.
Good morning from chilly 30 degrees in Illinois this happy Friday. Oh my goodness.
That is chilly.
I thought it was cold here.
Yeah.
That is cold, cold, cold.
I think we actually made it to 40-something this morning.
Oh,
out
very
here.
nice.
Oh, we're at to 46.
Oh
Today's
my
a
goodness,
warm
it's
day.
balmy.
I think yesterday we were around 30 degrees in the morning.
Yeah, it was cold yesterday.
It's chilly.
And be sure to like and share because sharing is caring. And,
Yes, it is.
You know, that's how we roll around here.
Hey.
So let's chat.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about tomorrow first? We'll go backwards.
Oh, sure. You okay? Well, yes, tomorrow we celebrate 21 years of marriage. It's our wedding anniversary.
We can't believe it either.
I know. It's
But-
hard to believe it's been 21 years.
I know.
Doesn't feel like it.
I know. Well, you know, it's funny because I put up a post earlier, or last week, about 22 years from our
Yes.
first date.
Correct.
And it's just hard to believe we've been together this long.
Right.
But it's
I
such a
know,
blessing.
I think I'm only a few years older than that. So
Exactly.
I don't know how that
I don't know
happened.
how we got married at 3. It's the craziest thing.
Somehow that
Those
was legal.
Australian laws.
Maybe that's what it is, because we did get married over in Australia. Yeah.
But yeah, so we're excited about that, and we actually share our anniversary with our pastor and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually in the past we've done this where we've gotten together with them.
And then somebody else isn't somebody else sharing our anniversary as well.
Oh, you're right. Is it Mark?
Mark, that's
Matlock.
the one. Yeah,
Right.
and his bride.
Yeah.
Also share our
Jade.
anniversary.
So
And there was somebody I saw today celebrating 21 years.
wow, that's amazing.
Aww.
I love hearing about long marriages, and we're
I
going to
do
hear about
too.
one today.
Yes.
Josh, happy anniversary, setting the marriage bar high for us all.
You're welcome.
That's what we do.
And we're
That's
going
how
to
we-
keep on going. So
That's right.
try to catch up.
But we love it. We love it. I mean, as you guys know, we're always together, but
Yes.
we're our favorite people. So
I know.
It
A
works.
lot of people say I could never work with my spouse, but I couldn't not work with my spouse.
yeah, that's the funny thing, especially like during this pandemic, we've thought about should we go out and get like other jobs because we're not doing a lot of events,
Right.
But should we go out and get other jobs? But it's
Real
like,
job.
what are we gonna do? If we
Yeah.
have to be away from it, and we've only got the one car, and
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of issues.
Because
but,
we're always together.
Because we're always together.
We
But
don't
love
need
it that
another
way.
car.
That's
So
right. Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
been great.
But so we've had a good week.
Yes.
We have. I'm trying to think what all's been going on. We've been doing a lot of work in the office, which again, if we had
Nowhere else
separate
to go, so we might as well just keep working in our office.
But we had a really special moment this week. So I think I've mentioned that this year I am the vice president of our local magic club, and which has worked well because we've been home, but we've also been virtual. So I've been able to do a lot of really interesting things for the club. And this week we had our annual banquet, annual big party, and we were
finally. This was meant to take place back in May. Everybody, every year in May, the local magic club has a big banquet, but of course this year they couldn't do it in person, so they tried postponing it. Everybody had all that optimism, thinking, okay, by July, by August, by October. And so finally they all just gave up and said, let's go virtual.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because when I was brought on, I was told there were 3 events that I didn't have to plan this year.
Right.
One was our annual banquet.
Correct.
The second one was our Christmas party.
Right.
And the third one is something that takes place in March.
And so the virtual party
became the Christmas party,
and
I had to plan
meeting.
the whole thing. But what was
it was fun.
It was fun, and we had a great entertainer, and we did something really interesting this year. So, as you are probably aware, magicians are well known for their magic wands, right? Like that's a very common trope in magic. And when a magician passes away, there's a very special ceremony that's performed called the Broken Wand Ceremony. And we're
This is a little inside scoop into the world of magic.
But so you literally you break a wand, kind of signifying that the magician has passed on and his magic is no more.
Right.
And it comes from, it's actually based on Shakespeare's Tempest. But anyways, in addition to all that, well, there's a whole longer story behind that. But we had 4 broken wands we had to do for people who've passed away this year. It's been a rough year. But one of the things we did do was we gave everybody this really fascinating book called Wandcraft, which is all about creating your own magic wand and how to use it, why it's used, different things like that. And with that, everybody got a wand.
Does it have any real magic power, David?
There's no real magic power.
No, there's not.
Except for I can do this and this and this.
And then After Effects, you add in the little...
Exactly. But what's really fascinating about this particular wand is it's based on a wand that a relatively unknown worldwide, but a relatively famous in his time magician who was named Willard the Wizard. It is based out of Dallas. And he traveled the country performing a huge show. But he developed this particular wand style. Our magic club is actually named after Willard the Wizard. And I don't. This just really occurred to me the other day. But the tips of the wand, and I don't know if you can see that, they're actually made out of bullet casings.
Which is fascinating,
right? So he used bullet casings to make the tips of his wands, and
so he did that for all of them.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah. Well, so when he made his, he made his. He had one wand. He probably had multiple wands through the years. But there's a gentleman named Judge Gary Brown who actually makes these, and we gave them all to our club members, and so it was a really special time.
Is.
So, but enough about that.
Well, the bullet kind of.
Yeah, for those of you who remember our story from earlier this year about the bullet coming through, that kind of hit me as oh my goodness, that's an interesting coincidence. Indeed. But anyways, shall we get on to our amazing guest this morning? Or no, that'll be later.
Okay, yeah, I think we will, and we've got a little shot of espresso for you guys today afterwards. So
yeah, we haven't done a shot of espresso in a while, but for those of you who remember, it's a little just kind of moment of happiness that we'll share with you after our interview today. That's kind of cool.
That we found in the news.
So anyways, we met this gentleman many years ago at a student conference. We meet a lot of guys at student conferences, but had the chance to work with him, and he and his team are just super fantastic people.
They are.
And just really great servants of God and the biggest hearts, and we just absolutely love him.
We love it. We're just talking this morning about how many, I guess we could call them clients, people we've worked with who have become really good friends over the time. And this gentleman is certainly one of those. Yeah,
and so when we see him at events, it always makes us smile. So we hope you guys will enjoy him as much as we do. So hopefully he's our friend, and now he's becoming yours, Mr. Tim Ramsey.
Woohoo!
Hello, sir.
Hey, guys.
How are
Good
you?
morning.
Good.
Good.
It's good to see you.
You look good.
Good to see you too. Trying to.
Yeah.
It gets harder every day.
It-
Aw.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like who's that older guy in the mirror? I have a little mantra. I'm getting older. I can't help that, but I'm refusing to get old.
I
Exactly.
like that. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
fantastic. Well, hey, thank you for coming on this morning. We really appreciate it. We like we said in our opening, we've gotten to know you through the years, and it's always been a joy, and we're excited to share you with our friends online. So, shall we jump into it?
Let's get going.
All
So, one of the questions we love to ask all of our guests is, what is your faith story? How did you come to know Jesus?
Well, I just jump right to the meat.
Yeah.
At 16 years of age, very dysfunctional family life. Mom and dad were separated, and one night I was going to bed, and actually I was in bed. I was asleep. I had a dream about this church. It's weird. Okay, I mean. I'm a guy that's kind of very just give me the hardcore. Hey, there's a church. I'm going to go to it. But I had this dream, and it was this church, and I was driving by this church, but I was looking at it as I was going by. And anyway, woke up the next morning on Sunday morning and was overwhelmed that I had to go to that church. So got dressed. I hadn't been to church since I was a little kid.
Wow.
When I went with my mom. And anyway, walked in, and I walked in this side door, which went right into the sanctuary. And there was nobody in there. And I thought, okay, maybe this is the wrong day. And suddenly this guy came around the corner. And I kind of startled him. He's like, oh, well, hey, can I help you? And I said, well, yeah, you guys doing church today? And he said, yeah, everybody's in Sunday school. Well, I didn't know about Sunday school. I didn't know what it was. And he goes, oh, come on, let me take you to the Sunday school. And I said, no, I'll just stay in here. So I sat in this empty sanctuary for a while, and then everybody started pouring in. And the weird fact is there wasn't a single student my age. I mean, there was no kids, no junior high school kids there. And anyway, went through the service. The pastor got down front, did the invitation. And it was one of the weirdest thing. I was suddenly in the aisle walking forward. And it was not thought through. It was just like, I'm going down. And I get down there, and the pastor's name was Bob Baldwin. And Brother Bob just said to me, he said, can I help you? And I said, well, I just wonder if God would let me in this church. And he said, oh, so you want to join the church? And I said, yeah, I'd like to join the church. He said, well, are you a Christian? And well, sure. Who in America isn't one?
Right.
And I said, yeah, I'm a Christian. He said, well, great, and welcome aboard. And anyway, joined the church. After the service was over with, suddenly about 50 students come pouring into the sanctuary. They were all in a separate little kind of a consecration service. They were getting ready to leave on a mission trip.
Oh.
So I knew several of them. Well, very quickly became a leader in the youth group. And then I guess it was about a year and a half later, Brother Bob was preaching on Sunday morning. And I became overwhelmed with the understanding that I was lost as a goose. I had never trusted Christ. I was leading people to the Lord. I'd gone on mission trips, and here's the lost guy telling them where they could go, and I wasn't going. And anyway, I didn't move. Church was done. I always did something with my friends on Sunday because it was a way to escape home. And that day I went straight home, and I stayed in my room. I was scared to death I was going to die.
Oh
And that night it came time for evening services, drove back up there as cautiously as a 17-year-old could, and found my youth pastor. And his name was Glenn Parrott. I just said, hey, Glenn, we got to talk. And he goes, hey, services are starting. Can we do it afterwards? And I said, no, dude, I got to talk to you now. And he said, well, okay. So we go to his office. Someone was in there. So we went to another place, sat down. He goes, all right, what is it? I said, Glenn, I'm not saved. And he started laughing. And he goes, bro, you're one of my leaders. I mean, you've led so many people to the Lord. You're saved. And I said, Glenn, I'm not. And we went back and forth. And he goes, you're serious? You're not saved? And my response was, duh, yeah, I'm not saved. And he goes, so, I mean, are you wanting to get saved? And I said, why do you think I'm sitting here? And I mean, desperation of a 17-year-old knowing where his destination was going to be if something didn't happen. And both of us got on our knees right there, and I trusted Christ. And it was so cool because that night, they were going to do a baptism service that night. At the end of the service, So they changed up the order a little bit and introduced me to the church as a new brother, in Christ.
Oh, wow.
People came up and hugged my neck, and then I went back there and got dunked right then and there.
Oh,
And
my goodness.
it was awesome.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's a fantastic
That's God.
story.
I mean,
That,
bottom line,
that's God.
Yeah.
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 I got to say, I love your openness and your honesty about that about the fact that you were so in church, right? But you weren't
Yeah.
saved, and
Right.
I think it's always amazing when you hear those kind of stories.
Yeah.
And then to see the transformation when they do become saved and what
Absolutely.
they go through. So
Whew.
wow.
What a great story.
Well, so
God is so good.
God is so good.
He is. He is.
So since you've become saved, and obviously I have a feeling that your experience is going to play into this a little bit, but you've been in student ministry for over 35 years. How did you know that you were called to that, and to what would you contribute your longevity?
The end of my senior year, I knew God was moving on my heart for that. And my youngest brother is deaf, and one night we couldn't find him, and so we're searching the neighborhood, and as I'm walking the streets looking for him, he was at a friend's house and just didn't tell us that he was over there. But as I'm walking around looking for him, and I thought, if he's safe and sound, I'll kill him. But Lord, I just pray that you bring him home safely. And I made a deal with God. I said, God, if you'll bring him home, I know you've got something for me to do for you, and I'll surrender to it. Well, Chad was found. I was like, well, dadgummit, he's alive. I guess I got to do it. But then I went off to school. I started my collegiate career at East Texas Baptist. Back then, I'm showing my age. It was East Texas Baptist College. It's now university.
Right.
And anyway, I decided that I wasn't going to pursue that. Our family had struggled financially growing up. I didn't want to struggle. And, from my perspective, most youth ministers were poor,
Right.
So I didn't want to be poor. And so I was pursuing everything that I could do to get a business degree. And God started doing some stuff in my life. He started putting up roadblocks. And he took away all of my financial aid in my third semester. I came in, started class, and got a message from the financial aid office going, hey, your stuff didn't come in. We're going to give it a couple more weeks. And so I went down there and I talked to them, and they said, yeah, listen, we don't know what else to do. And so the very last night that I could be at school, I'd gotten a notice from the financial aid office that, hey, come tomorrow, sign the forms. You'll pay for the food you've eaten and all that, but you have to leave. And so I got on my knees that night, and I just said, God, I'm not making a bargain with you. I surrender to you. You've got my attention. If you send me home, you send me home. I am not begging you that I'm going to make a promise to you and then you'll, let me stay. And it was heartfelt. And one cool thing I totally forgot about, the one that brought me to this point, earlier that day, I was taking a little bit of a midday siesta, just taking a little rest and kind of half asleep, half awake. And I was just sick to my stomach knowing I had to leave school. And I prayed in that, half awake, half asleep mode. And I said, God, why is everything going so bad? And I heard a voice, not like my voice, but it was as real as it could be. And it said this, Tim, you're not following me with both feet. I mean, going back to that story actually puts a lump in my throat to remember that moment. So that's what brought me to that point where I'm on my face before the Lord going, I'm yours. Both feet, your direction, I'm yours. So I slept that night, more sound than I had slept in that whole 2 weeks. Got up the next morning, went to class just to say goodbye to friends, and came back, checked my mailbox, and there was a notice in there from the financial aid office. And I thought, yeah, so please come by. You got to sign the papers. It wasn't about signing the papers what I owed. It was to sign the papers of all the financial aid that had come in that morning so I could continue to go to school there. And again, that's God. So,
That's God.
Come on.
So that's and then I met my wife there. We got married. We moved back to Houston. We financially couldn't finish up school at that time, so we moved to Houston. And so I started doing, I was a banker for a while, and was kind of pursuing that, and God still was tugging. He was still like, look, you're mine. And a church opened, had an opening right around the corner from where my bank was at. And anyway, became the youth pastor there at Braves Baptist Church in Houston, Texas. You could step outside the church and you can see the top of the Astrodome. And where there was a road right by the church, and on this side was very kind of an impoverished area, and on this side it was all Jewish. And so it made youth ministry extremely unique. I mean, what a place to start, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, we have needs and don't you dare knock on our door, you know?
Right.
And so, anyway, we had such a cool group there, and tons of great experiences there. But, but for the longevity question is, for me, I would love to say, I just worked hard at it. So God never removed the burden for youth ministry. I still hurt for students today. I still cry with my students today. I mean, this little guy right here will go off in the middle of the night going, "Hey, can we talk?" In fact, there's 2 more texts right there. But students will say, "Hey, I got this question." Sometimes it's just a Bible question. Sometimes, "Hey, my dad just walked out the door and said he's never coming back." And so, it's kind of my gauge here. If I lose passion for this, or if it starts being silent, maybe God's saying something. But it was I'm 57 years old. And we had a Christmas party Wednesday night, and I'm walking out the back to go grab something real quick. And there's a little group of girls sitting back there. And one of my leaders was sitting there, one of my girl leaders. And she said, "Hey, this is," I won't use her name. I'll say Sue. "Hey, this is Sue. She's been visiting for a few weeks. She just wanted to meet you." And I said, "Well, hey, Sue, it's nice to meet you. Tell me your story. Where are you from?" And so she said, "Hey, I go to this school and I play these sports and stuff." And I said, "Okay, well, man, I'm so glad you're here." And she goes, "You know what? You just make it fun. You make it real. And I know you care. And I just wanted to meet you." Okay, God, I'll stay in the game. I'll stay in. And I show that story not to say, "Oh, look how great I am." No, it's what God is doing through me, because I can't do this on my own.
Yeah.
So it's what he does. I just want to be his vessel. And, the old saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Absolutely.
And my kids, I think, for the most part, they know I care.
Yeah.
So anyway, longevity is just that God never removed it from me, and he's still blessing me. He's still working through me. And then when he changes, I hope I catch it soon enough, quick enough, and do what I'm supposed to do next.
I love that you're using that phone. Like, if this goes silent, then I'm doing something wrong. The fact that your students feel comfortable and know that you're going to have an answer for them just by texting you or calling you, I think that's amazing. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and having worked with you and seen how you relate to the students and how much they love you, and following you on Facebook and all those things, and seeing the connections that you have, it's apparent that God is certainly still using you, and he definitely has been using you through the years, and it's phenomenal to watch. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of dedication and longevity and anniversaries, you're about to celebrate 37 years with your lovely bride.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Yes.
So, given the hurdles and challenges that come in ministry and dealing with all that, what practical advice could you give to a newly married student pastor to help make their marriage and ministry as strong and as long-lasting as yours?
Well, I think I started off with just a simple 2 words of marry well. I tease my wife. I said, "I don't know what sin you were committing for God to punish you with me, but I'm glad you were doing it."
No.
She is an amazing, just Christ-centered lady. I mean, she's up at 5:30 in the morning, doing her Bible study, just praying and just prepping for the day, and praying for me. And I mean, there's so many times. I mean, I'm coming up on. We've been married 37 years. I've been doing youth ministry for 37, but 2 of those years were before we got married. So 35 years that she has been so many times a ministry widow. She knows if there's a church event and it's a church-wide thing that I've got things I've got to do. And she's my encourager. She is an amazing accountability. I had to learn that when she brings something up, it's not to tear me down, it's to make me better.
Yeah.
And, a man's pride is like, no, I got this down. I mean, I walk on water and you should know that. But no. I mean, I think I'm walking on water and really, I'm 2 feet, underwater and she's trying to help me out. And so I listen and please understand, I'm not saying I listen well all the time. Sometimes that pride does well up and it's sort of like, do you know who I am? I mean, and
Great
she's
voice.
like, I know who you are. And by the way, but she makes these great suggestions. Hey, have you ever thought about? And sometimes she'll just flat out say, hey, I really think you need to re-examine that because, the Bible says, and that's the thing about my wife that I just love, is that if she is giving me some sort of direction, it's not just her opinion. She always brings in scripture. That's the thing. She's just so cool. I got the best wife in the world. I know you and I can argue. But,
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Yeah, we can always argue on that. But making sure also that we are getting some quality time together. Now, our anniversary is coming up January 7th, and I actually had an invitation to go speak at a youth event on the 8th and the 9th, and like you guys, so like we had a packed calendar for speaking. And suddenly COVID hits and 22 speaking events. I became a magician.
Yes.
I did. COVID's a magician. It just made it disappear.
I know.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's like, okay, God, you're in control. But suddenly now we're getting, the calendar is starting to fill up again. And yeah. And I thought, I thought this is a great time for an event because, end of the year stuff and blah, blah, blah. And so I went to her and I said, hey, babe, I got an invitation for January 8th and the 9th. And she's sitting on the floor playing with one of our grandkids at that time. And she turned and looked at me. She goes, okay, so when do we have our getaway? And I said, let me look at the calendar. That's all I needed to know. I texted them back, said, guys, thanks so much for the invitation, but I'm going to have to turn it down. Why? Because she needs to be the priority here.
Yeah.
And anyway, so marry well. Pray for your spouse. Do not, gentlemen, let me just say this. Do not wear your heart on your sleeve. You are not perfect. And we have blind spots that we can't see. And when they speak in, listen. And, and don't try to immediately prove that they're wrong. Listen. And if they're wrong, you probably still need to be quiet. But anyway, for the sake of,
Right.
Yeah, it's the old saying, if the tree falls in the forest and no one's around, doesn't make a sound. Well, if a man speaks and his wife is not around, is he still wrong?
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, yes, that's the answer, yes. But I would love to say it's a great formula. God just gave me an amazing woman to be my wife, and she has made me. Let me rephrase that. God has used her to make me successful in all that God gives me to do. And that includes my family. When I'm praying for my ministries, my first ministry I pray for every time is my family.
Yeah.
That's my first ministry.
Smart.
And let me say, that wasn't always the case, because if you're a young youth guy out there listening, man, don't ever think that, well, these other kids are hurting. You know what? Your kids need you too. They did a special recognition thing here at our church several years back. Our oldest son, is 36. And when he was 16 in the youth group, they were doing a recognition of the staff. And when they called me up to recognize me with the other staff members, there was a youth standing next to him. And he leaned over, the other student, his name was James, he leaned over to I call him Bub, Christopher. He leaned over to Christopher and he just said, hey, your dad's so awesome. And Christopher's response was, yeah, but I have to share him with everybody. And that story did not come to me until he was married and with kids of his own.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought, wow, God, thank you, one, that my improper understanding of what my role was in my family at that time, that God, you still blessed and you still kept his heart, yours. And we've got 5 kids, and my oldest son played guitar for Micah Tyler Band and is now, was until they shut down, a tour manager for Compassion International.
Oh,
okay.
And and daughters doing mission trips and married with kids. And anyway, it's just cool to see what God has done with my family and how He's protected their hearts from the early years when I wasn't doing it right and are not perfect. I would, I wasn't bad. I wasn't a, abusive dad or anything like that, but I wasn't the total hands-on dad. But then again, marry well, that's where my wife stepped in and really pointed him the right way. And anyway, all that to say, guys, you've got to make sure your priorities are biblically correct. And I will say first ministry is your home, because if your home falls, you have no ministry outside of that because of everything else that fell down.
That's powerful.
Such great advice.
Yeah.
Very wise man. And speaking of wisdom, I know a few years ago you put some of that wisdom on your thoughts about student ministry down in a book called Give Them the Keys. So in it, you discuss the importance of making a youth ministry essentially giving ownership to those under your leadership. So how has your ministry benefited from that model? And what, if any, changes have you had to make in your approach during the pandemic?
Yeah, that's always a great question. It was years ago. How this all started was my oldest son started a band, and it was a kind of more of a punk rock Christian band, and the lead vocalist, he had one note in his repertoire, because he just had musical variants to it. But anyway, one day, Bub, my son, came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, can we lead worship?" And I thought, well, why not? And I'm kind of bracing myself, because it's like, Jesus, And but anyway, what happened was, I still remember their very first time they led worship, and they did the song "Lord, I Lift Your Name on High," and it was done so cool. But the young man that was leading it, again vocally, was like, "Lift your name on high," and I'm like, oh, this is not what I think.
But you did that in the traditional service, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Just to watch the blue hairs turn gray. But our students loved it. And I said, you guys want to keep doing this? And they were like, well, why not? So they kept doing it. And then they started inviting their friends. And we were a youth group at that time. We probably ran maybe 30, 35 kids. Within 3 weeks of them taking over, we were running 100 to 120 kids.
Whoa!
Because
really?
They got excited about their ministry. It wasn't the church's ministry, it was their ministry, and they invited friends. So I just started thinking, what else can we do? So I started a prayer ministry, and I had a student lead it. And it started out with just 2 students meeting on Wednesday nights to pray. And within about 3 or 4 months, there was about 30, 40 kids on their face meeting on Wednesday nights. So I thought, this is a cool approach. And so I began to pray, began to seek God, exactly what can this look like? And anyway, that's how it was birthed. So we have 14 ministry teams here at the church in our youth ministry. We have youth deacons. They're a service team. In fact, they just moved a widow. I had nothing to do with it. They don't run anything by me. They let me know. I'm a part of their little group me's, so I know what they're doing. Or if they need some finances for something they're doing, they'll call and ask. But they don't need permission. They just go do it. They'll say, "Hey, can we borrow one of the youth trailers to go move, Mrs. So-and-so?" Well, sure. I'll go take the locks off. And I don't have to do anything. Or they go to, right now we can't do nursing home stuff because they're all shut down. But we have a young ladies ministry team, and they go into nursing homes and they cook meals for people. And we have a prayer team. We have a video team. We have an AV team. They run all of our our audiovisual needs. Like if we're doing a game outside, I'll call Daniel up. He's the young man. He's a sophomore this year. I'm going, hey, I call him D-Dog. Hey, say D-Dog, listen, man, we're going to be doing an outdoor game. I need a sound system. You got it. And I get here, and there's a sound system set outside, and music's already playing, and they've got it all set. We have a recreation team. I mean, I could go on and on and on. But I think I froze up there. Okay, there we are.
You're still here.
I'm still here. So we have 14 different teams, but not every year do we have all 14 teams functioning. The kids have to apply, and they have to go through an interview. And then my youth assistant and I will pray over them, and then we'll say, this is who we feel that God's putting in a position. And anyway, you have to be in high school to be a part of it, to be in leadership. And there's only one time I've had a ninth grader actually in leadership. But it is just so cool for me to see all these group meets going on back and forth as they talk about their ministry.
Oh,
Not something that I put on a
so
calendar.
good. Right.
I said, okay, guys, now you need to get your ministry mindset on, get your heart set right, because we're doing a mission trip. No, these guys are living in it. And like one of our elders of our church, we're doing a big church fellowship this Sunday. And they wanted to have servers. So the elder called me up and said, hey, man, can you get some youth? And so I said, hey, I'm going to send you 2 phone numbers. Call them. So he called. It's all taken care of. I didn't have.
Nice.
It's great that I don't have extra work to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But the thing is that the coolest thing is this. Statistically speaking, kids who have led a ministry that graduate out and they've been faithful in that ministry, when they go off to college, what we're seeing, I think it's actually around 78, 79% of them find a ministry or they create a ministry. We had one young lady went to a school and began as a freshman. She started an after-school Bible study at an elementary school. She was our young ladies ministry team director. No, I'm sorry. She was our discipleship minister or director. And she went and started it and did it all 4 years she was at school and did it all by herself.
Aww.
The statistic is we're seeing students when they graduate out walk away from the church.
Mm-hmm.
And that statistic continues to go up.
Yep.
In our case, with students who are involved, maybe they're not a leader, but they're heavily involved in the ministry. We're seeing them not only go off to school, they're finding churches and they're finding ministry. And so that's super encouraging.
I don't think that's a coincidence there, Tim.
No. And the coolest thing is I got nothing to do with it. A guy goes, hey, I'm gonna work something through you. And it's gonna be pretty cool. Don't mess it up. But the pandemic in all of it, so many, like I told you, the nursing homes are shut down. And so our students, we had a meeting. We meet at my house once a month for dinner. And it's kind of tell me what's going on. How can I pray for you? Hey, here's some suggestions. And it's a real cool time. We've backed off a little bit because of the pandemic. We still have met a few times for those who could. And we meet outdoors at my house. We have a patio out back. And that way, those who need to be extraordinarily cautious because of people in their homes have to be careful of, we're still meeting. But I've challenged them. I said, guys, listen, we can't be all together at times. So I'm not going to give you suggestions. I want you to figure it out. I want you to see where your ministry can fit and how this is going. Now, not all of them have really, found their niche, but our prayer ministry coordinator, her name is Madison. She's a senior this year. She has built this prayer. I think it's a texting thing that she does, but she is constantly sending out. The guy that oversees our missions for us, his name is Isaac. He's a senior this year. Isaac, what he created was, hey, you know what? We're going to take a week and we're going to pray for the 1040 window, particular areas. And then we pray for a whole month. And then at the end of the month, we take up a love offering for a ministry in that area. And so, and again, I have nothing to do with this. I'm not telling them what to do. They're going before the Lord. The Lord is moving and putting this on them. And so, as we're sitting back going, it's totally changed, man. It's all totally different. Woe is me. No. God's going, hey, I'm still God. There's still ministry. Go figure it out. And so many of our students have. So anyway, I'm actually, I was supposed to have a new book released March 6th, and I'm glad it didn't go out because I'm rewriting 2 of the chapters because of the pandemic. But I've been working also on Give Them the Keys 2.0, dealing with how do we deal with this. And we're probably going to be releasing it just as a free, here's a little guide of what we see works. And, but it's just having time because I'm a full-time youth guy. That's my calling. It's my heart. And the speaking stuff that I do and the books and all that, that's just something, if I have time, I'm going to pour into it. But I also have a board who's saying, hey, man, that's a really good idea. You need to be acting on that. So I'm going, okay, great. You right away. Let me know when you're done. But to make sure the focus stays here. But it's cool to see, every youth ministry was heartbroken this year. Mission trips were canceled. Camps were canceled. Other ministry events were canceled. What are we going to do? Well, I remember a story of a guy in Hawaii who gave his life to go and live in the leper colony. And he eventually died of leprosy, but he lived in there ministering to them and sharing Christ. I think it was like for 32 years. And so in the sense of all this pandemic stuff, and we live in fear, what should we do and stuff, we're going to proceed forward. I'm going to speak for us. We're going to proceed forward in the midst of the pandemic. God is still God. He is still going to be proclaimed and worshiped. And I actually, my wife and I actually got COVID. We got it back in November. And it was not a lot of fun. I'll be honest with you. But we got it because we were in the midst of, I'll use the colony,
Right.
We're gonna go share Christ. And the kid I got it from was a kid I shared Christ with. And it's just the way it goes. Wow. But to see our kids respond to the challenge and don't baby them, encourage them, but don't baby them. Right. And there's times that you have to sometimes give them just a little bit of an encouragement. I call it a shove. It's like, come on, you haven't done anything, and you've got some great opportunities. So, anyway,
that's awesome.
I could go on and on about that. I'll just land the plane.
No, yes. But I love that.
That's why you wrote a book.
Exactly. And you're writing another one. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, Tim, you've given some really great answers.
Incredible.
To some tough questions. We appreciate that. So we're going to shift gears a little bit now and do something a little more fun with our lightning round that we call 5 questions. 5 questions. All right, Tim, what are you binge watching right now?
Well, it's college football season, and basically I follow one sport. Whoop, there it is, Texas A&M, number 5 in the country, baby. My dad was an Aggie, grew up an Aggie, and when they're not playing, I'm finding a game on YouTube,
Wow.
So I just love the traditions and everything. On regular TV, I guess if you say there's something I'm going to binge on, I don't know why, but diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Oh,
yes.
Dude, that's like crack. I just when we were going through COVID, I was just living off of Triple D. So
all those things I can't taste.
That's exactly right. I can't smell it. I can't taste it, but I'm sure it's good.
That's right.
It looks good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. If you could have, this is a tough one. If you could have any other job than the one you have right now, what would it be?
I really desire that if I one day get to the point that I physically can't, just do youth ministry, I would love to teach youth ministry. I would love to be a seminary professor and just get to love on youth guys and encourage them and help them and be a resource doing that. I'm getting more and more opportunities to go and speak at youth conferences now. But to actually have relationships with them. And, there's the new ministry that we're about to start called Youth Do. Part of that is going to be a mentor program that we're going to offer youth pastors. So I get a little taste of that. But if I had a chance, I'd be a professor somewhere teaching.
Wow.
That makes so much sense.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
I can totally see you doing that.
We just need 2 of you. One to be with your youth and another one to be teaching youth ministers. That'd be awesome.
Oh, I'd love it.
All right. So what is your favorite to-go order?
Oh, gosh. I guess I love Freebird burritos. I just do. There you go. Freebirds. If I stood up, you could see that it's made me the man that I am today. We don't have a Freebirds here in Huntsville where I live, and so I have to go to college. Well, it's good. No, it's good because it means we have money in the bank, and I'm not gaining 15,000 more pounds. But College Station is about 40 minutes from here. Conroe's about 35 minutes from here, so they both have one. So I can make up excuses. Oh, I got to go down there and pick something up for the youth group.
Yeah, I got to do that thing,
Yeah, that thing.
That thing. Yeah.
I love it.
So that's my favorite takeout.
Very good.
Good stuff.
Good answer.
All right, what are you reading right now?
A friend of mine wrote a book called Another Gospel. Her name is Elisa Childers. She was, some of you guys might remember the group Zoe Girl from
Yeah.
way back in the day. She was a Zoe Girl.
Oh,
And
really?
I met Elisa at a conference that I was at, and it was cool. She sat right next to me for the first day, and she could only take one day, I guess. But she never brought up her past. She was simply talking about where she was right then and what God was doing.
Oh, wow.
And she really started getting disillusioned with the American church and where it was going. And she found what was known as the progressive church movement and really started studying. That's what this book's about. And
Okay.
I highly recommend it to guard our hearts from just the watered down gospel. This is a great read. And anyway, when I was leaving that conference, she was walking by and I said, at least I got to tell you this. What's impressed me about you is you're not holding on to what you once were. It's what God's doing with you now. And excuse me, she started a blog. LisaChilders.com is her website. She is phenomenal and she is exploding on the scene. But when she told me she was writing this book, I mean, it's the moment it was available to purchase, even though it wasn't out yet. I ordered 30 copies.
Wow.
And just handed them out to parents. So guys, you've got to guard your kids' hearts because the world wants it watered down and comfortable. God didn't call us to that.
Yep. That's good. Good stuff.
Very good.
Okay. Last question. They decide to make a movie of your life. Who plays you?
Oh gosh. I had to actually ask family and friends, who do you think?
Yes.
And the first name that came out was Drew Carey. I didn't know how to take that. But his personality and mine are a lot alike. Then there's the sharp side of me, which is more the Jack Black. So, yeah, that's it. So if you could get a love child from between the two of them, you probably would have somebody who could play me.
I can kind of see it, you know?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So that's who I'd say.
I love it. I love it.
It'd be fun.
That's great.
So, hey, people want to reach out to you. They want to get you to come to speak at their event when it's not your anniversary and you're not busy with your own students. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Right now, we've got a brand new website about to launch. So being that that's not there yet, just the easiest way to get a hold of me is Tim, at timramsey.com.
Okay.
That's just my all go-to website right now. Once we get One Road's out there, you can go to One Road Ministries. That's plural, oneroadministries.org. And there's a link there for booking and stuff like that. Or if you just want to just, contact me directly, just go to Tim at timramsey.com.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
There it is.
Love it. Well, my friend, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a joy to catch up with you again.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let me say something about you guys real quick.
Oh, no.
I'm going to go back to the great...
Hit the mute button. Mute. We're ending.
The great freeze out. That's what I called it. You guys got froze out of Dallas. And you'd come in to just minister to our kids, and then you couldn't go home. And so we're at Piney Woods Baptist Encampment there in Groveton. And I just said, hey, why don't you stick around and stuff. Here's the thing about you that I love you so much, but I love about you so much, is you didn't just hide in your room and you didn't just stand in the background. You were sitting down, eating with the students. You were engaging the students. Hey, we're here. We're going to pour into their lives. That's when you went from, okay, here's these guys who come in and do stuff, to, you know what? I want these guys to be a part of my world. I want them to come in and minister to my kids. We haven't had a chance to bring you back yet, and it's in the discussion of bringing you guys in for an event that's coming up. But your heart was so revealed, and not just I'm a one and done. I'm going to come in, pay, hey, thanks for the honorarium. Hope the show was good. See you later. It's like, no, your kids matter. And as I was walking around, you probably didn't notice that I was, paying attention. I took some, pictures, but I didn't post them yet. But how you guys took time to be there. There's a guy named Bill Glass who says this. He's got a great prison ministry. But he says, when you are where you are, be there. Okay. So when you are where you are, be there. Okay. And that's what you guys did. Hey, we can't go home. God's called us to tell the world about him. We've got an audience right here. And you guys did that. So I just want to tell you how much I love you guys, how much I appreciate you guys. anybody out there that may be watching this, you're not just getting someone who's going to come perform. You're getting someone who's going to come and minister that truly cares about the group that sits in front of them.
Well, thanks,
Wow,
Tim.
thank you.
We love you too.
Awfully kind. Yeah.
I do remember that time. Isn't that where we went out with the band?
Yeah.
And I got sick.
I think you got sick. Yeah.
Yeah. I got food poisoning.
Oh, yeah.
We left the
That's a
camp
restaurant
and
you
we're
went
like, let's
to.
go out. And the band was raving about this local restaurant.
Yeah.
And so we went out with them to try this food that was meant to be amazing. And it tasted good.
It was great, but it did
Only
not do
the
well
first
with you.
time.
Yeah. But
That restaurant is closed down now.
well, good.
It
Good.
is.
We don't have to worry
It
about that
is.
again.
Well, that's good to hear.
Oh, well, Tim, thank you again so much. We look forward to the next time we get to catch up, and
Yes.
we hope you have a
That'd be
great
great.
day.
We're big fans of you.
Same.
Yeah.
you guys.
Have a Merry
Keep it up.
Big
Christmas.
fans of you.
No.
Merry Christmas to you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I told you guys would love him. He's
so
fantastic,
good.
right?
So much knowledge.
So much wisdom, so much
Yeah.
love, and that story that he told. I mean, that's one of the reasons we felt so comfortable sticking around and opening up was because of the love that the students were showing that was evident from the leadership,
Yes.
and it was a wonderful
It all
experience.
leaks down from the top.
It does. It absolutely does.
And he is incredible person, and I just love the work that he's doing, not only in his community, but that he shares with others.
Yeah. So pick up his book.
Yes.
Make sure you go check him out.
And if you're planning
Get into your
a
event.
conference, he's a man to talk to.
That's right. Except for January 7th.
Except for that, that weekend. Any other time, but
Any other
then
time,
he
yeah.
could be there for you.
Well, hey, real quick, we got a couple of quick wrap up things here
Yes.
to do. First of all, let's hit the shot of espresso.
I like it.
It's just so pretty.
Yum. Now you just want to go
And hey,
have
we're
an
reversed.
espresso
Hang on,
now.
we're gonna switch. There.
That was weird.
That was
Whoa.
weird.
See that magic happen right there?
Pretty good, right?
Yes. So
So
what we found.
we found this online from the Jefferson County Schools, and this is a letter that was sent out from the superintendent, which we just thought was beautiful. And just going to read this because, dear Jefferson County Schools community, for generations, families have greeted the first snow day of the year with joy. It's a time of renewed wonder at all the beautiful things that each season holds. A reminder of how fleeting a childhood can be, an opportunity to make some memories with your family that you hold on to for life. For all of these reasons and many more, Jefferson County Schools will be completely closed tomorrow in honor of the first snow day of the year. Closed for students, closed for virtual, closed for staff. It's been a year of seemingly endless loss and the stress of trying to make up for that loss. For just a moment, we can all let go of the worry of making up for so many things we missed by making sure this is one thing our kids won't lose out on this year. So please enjoy a day of sledding and hot chocolate and cozy fires. Take pictures of your kids in the snow as they will snow hats that they will outgrow by next year, and read books that you've wanted to lose yourself in but haven't had the time. We will return to the seriousness and urgent business of growing up on Thursday, but for tomorrow, go build a snowman.
Go build a snowman.
So Jefferson County Schools in West Virginia, congratulations. I think that's a beautiful thing to do. I think that's a great way to honor your community in this really weird time of COVID,
Yeah.
because we all need little joys like that.
Right. They could have said, well, we're virtual. We'll just keep on
Keep
going,
on going, right?
But they said, let's take a moment and just enjoy those little things in life.
Yeah.
Like snow. If you're one of those people who love snow, enjoy it.
I guess if you live in West Virginia, you probably love
You
snow.
probably do. Yes. Although we've got friends who are,
Getting dumped on in
Dumped on.
Pennsylvania and Ohio.
yes,
Yeah.
and New York, a friend
Oh,
just
my goodness.
posted like 3 feet.
Crazy.
3 feet of snow.
Crazy.
And I'm like, I'm so glad we live in Texas.
That's right. Okay.
My southern bones cannot handle that.
No, they
Like,
cannot.
"Ah."
No, they cannot. So, real quick, catch you up on what's going to happen with the rest of the year. So, this is the last coffee chat for the year.
Oh,
I know.
sad.
Face.
I know.
Sad
Emoji.
Sad emoji. So, what we are going to do is we're going to take off New Year's Day. We're not doing anything.
No.
So, deal with it. We'll be back with a new guest in the new year.
Yes.
But next week, on Thursday
Thursday evening.
which is what?
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. We are going to have a special video for you guys that we are calling The Nights Before Christmas.
Because it's the nights,
The nights before Christmas. Yeah. So
Aren't we genius? So smart.
Oh, that makes Josh sad. Well, hopefully he's sad about the
think
coffee
he's-
chat being done
yes.
for the year.
Sad about that. But we will be here for that Thursday night. I know you're all busy.
Yep.
Got plenty going on, but if you're not,
Come hang out with us.
Come hang out with
Yeah,
us.
we will, and we'll post all the details.
It's only
shortly.
going to be short.
It'll be short, yeah, probably less than 30 minutes,
Yeah.
easily. And it'll just be a fun little time to catch up. You're all so creative.
No,
Well, wait till you see it. We'll see if we're still creative. we came up with the name, and I didn't even come up with the name. So,
yeah.
Brian Weatherford. But anyways, so that's coming up, and yeah. So, any final thoughts?
Just, I love you so very much.
I love you too,
I'm
darling.
very happy.
We're
about
going to enjoy our time this weekend
Yeah.
and celebrating our
So
marriage.
don't bother us this weekend.
That's right. Leave us alone. But
It's our time.
we look forward to seeing you all next week,
Yes.
and then of course in the new year. So thanks so much, Josh. So good to see you guys, and yep. Take care.
We love you guys. Have
Love
a good
y'all.
one.
Bye.
Bye.